Kick it.
Welcome to Hardheaded Podcast. I'm your host, Chet Sears. With me, as always, is Troy. 3-shot Trussell. 3-shot is back.
That's right.
Hunting is right around the corner. And Matt Amos is joining us from an undisclosed location as he's doing some volunteer work with Wounded Warrior Outdoors. We're glad to have you today. Your kick it was not that enthusiastic. We're going to talk about...
I'm tired, man.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a few things today, some exciting things that are going on. It's going to be a good news episode. We're tired of talking about politics or thinking about politics so much. So we're going to get into that. Then we're going to cover our top 3 important things this election cycle. So what's your most important things that driving the way you vote this election cycle? So hopefully we won't be talking about candidates, but talking about some things that are important to us. And then Matt will close us out with a good word. So glad you're with us. Man, I was reflecting on the drive here. It was a long drive here for me today, by the way, 3 hours. But not because of traffic, because I did not leave from inside of town. But I've got a lot of good things going on with my kids right now. I'm really proud of what they're doing. And just in these last couple of weeks, there's been some opportunities to see not only my kids thrive in what they enjoy doing, but really some spiritual growth that's been really cool. And I don't want to say too much. I'll embarrass the heck out of some of them, but I might as well.
I'll do it. I'm their uncle.
But so Sabrina started. She had the opportunity. She's she's shy. Doesn't like attention, especially if there's a group of people. But she's kind of come out of her shell a little bit and being a leader with her band section. They actually prayed together the other day. She led them and was really excited about that and seeing
nice.
her. Kind of being able to be a little bit more open about her faith with some of the kids that she's around at school. And then just killing it. They had a band competition back in Manhattan a little over a week ago. And their band scored the highest score that you can score. But it's just also awesome to be there. So the K-State marching band ends the competition, and they kind of go out there and show off and do just some really cool stuff. And so to be able to see 2 of my kids do what they love on the same field on the same day is really neat. We did crash at Stone's place that night.
Oh.
Because the competition starts at 11 a.m. and a band plays every 15 minutes, a marching band, until 9:30 p.m.
Oh, my gosh.
And then they do...
That's like a dance competition.
Or is it 10? And then the K-State band comes out and they play for like 30 minutes. And then they give the awards. So luckily the high school band that Sabrina's in didn't play until 9:15 or 9:30. So we didn't leave here till 6:30 at night Saturday, and then went up there. But then we slept at Stone's house and then went to church with him the next morning. I'm not cut out for that anymore. The crashing on a couch in a nasty, house that a bunch of college dudes live in.
By the time my kids get there, I'll be way older than you are. I don't know.
I'm let down. Like I have this, in my mind. I could roll with that my younger self because I had so much fun and it's not gonna be that bad, dude. It was that bad. It was. It was bad.
Well, as long as it was cold, you can sleep when it's cold.
It wasn't cold. We had the ceiling fan going like crazy, but the chain on that thing, those fans wobbling, and then so whenever the football team has an away game and they win, the band is voluntary, but they go up and play for the football team as they get off the buses and go into their...
and the game was late.
Yeah. At 9:30 is when that game started. So they showed up. Stone left at 4:30 Sunday morning to go up and play for the team getting back in. So I was awake because he's going out the door right.
Well,
right
and he
in the room
probably
we're
only got
standing.
like 2 hours of sleep.
Yeah, but
the
he's
game
in
was over
college.
at 1.
Yeah, I stayed up for the game. We watched it. It was awesome. But anyway,
I watched that LSU game. That was awesome.
that's going on. Staley is she's killing it. So she's a freshman there. I got to listen to her weekly radio show. She's got her own radio show now.
Nice.
At what is it, 91.9 Wildcat FM out of Manhattan, the K-State station. So that was pretty cool. She can't pick the music that they play, but it's her and another girl, Aubrey. They have all the segments, and so they talk through certain things and whatever, and then they play a couple songs. But so it's like Drake and The Weeknd and all these people the songs that are playing, but I get to hear her talk in between all that.
Yeah,
so.
stuff I wouldn't play or listen to
Right, or me.
Or her, probably.
Or her. Yeah. So, but I mean, it's just really cool to see her killing it. And then Stone's doing such a great job, enjoying the band and his friend group up there. And he's in the pub crawl band and doing a whole lot of stuff. And so I was just kind of reflecting that on the drive while I turned the radio down while Drake was rapping on my daughter's radio show, and just thought,
don't lie. You listen to that.
I don't. I do
That's
not.
like your new favorite genre.
Nope, it's not. But I was just thinking, man, I'm really, really proud of my kids and how they're growing in their faith and kind of making an impact on their world. We're not going to talk about grades right now, but other than that, super proud. And it's just fun. It's fun to see it and to be a part of it. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Dude, we can talk about grades on my end.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Killing it?
Maggie is killing it.
Yeah?
And she has struggled so long with just different things as it relates to academics, but math being the number one thing she struggled with. So much so we think she has dyscalculia, which is kind of like a dyslexic with numbers.
Okay. I did not know that was a thing.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
But this year, I don't know. I think it's just a different math because algebra is a little different than everything else, but she's just killing it. She's doing great.
Yeah.
And loving it. I think she has a 92 in there right now on her first 9 weeks.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I saw a video of her behind the wheel too. Tell me about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So we went to Open Streets a couple weeks ago and got something to eat. And then on the way back, pulled into the church parking lot there by our house. And she's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, You want to get over here and drive a little bit?" She's like, "Yeah.
Just you and her?
Yeah, it was just me and her.
I was thinking the whole family.
Oh,
man.
no.
You taking a risk. Wipe out the whole Trussell clan at one time.
Yeah. And then, so this was the first time she ever driven anywhere except, she or her mom let her like pull the car in the garage one time.
Yeah.
And this was like a year ago when she did that. And I told Hannah, like, never again.
Right.
She can barely reach the pedals.
You make a mistake, it's not just the car, it's the house.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, no. So anyway, she
you've had enough cars going through houses
the
in your
house.
life.
Yeah, no, we don't need that again. Yeah, so she got behind the wheel and I showed her. I just had to run through everything. This does this is that, and all that. So yeah, it was fun. And she drove to the back of the church and then around the parking lot and then back to the front and made her park in a couple different spots and. Yeah. She had a good time. So much so when we got home, we were all sitting on the couch watching football, and she's like, "Hey, Mom, you want to run? Do you need to run to the store or anything? I'll go with you. I'll go with you. We can go. I'll drive around the parking lot a little bit."
So
more.
Permit yet, or just parking lot driving?
No, just getting her behind the wheel.
Okay.
Once. So, yeah. So then, I'll just keep bragging on her, and then she just played volleyball the first time ever.
Yeah.
They just finished up their season. She's never done any sports ever.
Yeah.
She's been a dancer for 3 years.
That's a sport.
Well, it is a sport.
It's an art.
I meant,
I don't know what it is.
Like, she's never done a team sport.
Yeah.
Right. So I was against it, but she talked me into letting her do volleyball at school, which was great for her. She was just new. So I went over to her on the bench at halftime or between sets.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, if you're going to play this game, you can't be scared of the ball. You got to get aggressive, and you got to hit the ball, and you got to.
So when we get home, I'm going to throw a ball at you for an hour.
Yeah. No, but I just told her that, and then I went and sat back in the stands, and I was proud of her because she took my advice and she went after it and hit the ball over the net a few times. Yeah. After that,
Yeah.
And then throughout the whole season, she got better and better and better.
Yeah, confidence will build up.
Yeah, and by the end, she was starting.
Yeah.
By the last 2 games. And just really proud of her in that and, trying to do something new, wanting to do it, and then executing on it and doing it well. So.
And then Noah's like dominating the track, the cross-country world.
Yeah, Noah's dominating the cross-country world. He's gotten...
I bet he's faster than Matt was at this age.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hands down. How fast?
What grade?
How fast could you run a mile in 6th grade?
In 6th grade?
Yeah.
5.
Wow! I don't believe this.
Five.
Whatever.
5:15.
Whatever.
No.
5:15.
No way.
You realize that I was 6 foot, and I stopped growing. Like I was
in 6th
fast.
grade?
Yeah.
How many years were you held back?
None.
Huh?
And then I completely quit, and then I completely stopped. Like I hit the wall right there. That was when I stopped growing.
You're crazy.
Now he's 5'2".
Right.
But my 400 time was because I think that was the first year for. No, I don't know if that was the first year for track because I didn't run cross country when I was that young, but it was like 59, 60 seconds, somewhere right there.
Noah's fastest this year was 6 minutes, 6 seconds.
If you were that fast, your name would be on some school records plaques.
It is.
I know. That's why I said it. Let's set you up for that.
I will tell you this, though. My individual records have all been broken.
Yeah?
Yep. My team, the only one that still stands is the 4x8, 4x800 that we set in 1998.
98.
Well, good for you. So anyway.
That was just the soccer player in me, but go ahead.
Yeah, you just did that to keep in shape, right?
That was it. Yep, just to keep in shape for soccer.
Right. Yeah, so Noah's gotten like every medal.
Yeah.
And they've gotten, he's gotten better. So he got like the 10th place, 7th place, 6th place, 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd.
Yeah. Is it the same dude that's beating him all the time?
There's 2 guys. So they run 6th grade all at once, and they run 7th, and then they run 8th grade, and sometimes they combine them.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on the race and who's putting it on. So the one time they combined 6th and 7th 2 races or 2 meets this year, and one time he was the first 6th grader.
Yeah.
But since it was combined, he didn't get a first place medal, which
Right.
kind of sucks. I think he got a 3rd place on that day.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, one of the meets he got 6th, and they only medaled the first 5, but it was a combined race.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think he was second 6th grader on that one. But anyway, he's killing it. He's loving it too.
Yeah.
He's got some good friends on the team, and it's a lot of fun.
Track people are good people.
Yeah,
I've seen.
Yeah. So I'll just stop at those 2. If I keep going,
and give him some encouragement.
I also need to know. I gave Tatum a stern talking to last time I was over there for dinner about his grades. Did that stick?
I don't know. Like he's a good kid, and especially good. He's our smartest kid. I mean, he makes A's just by,
if he does his work. And I was having a conversation with about him doing his work.
If he does his work, he's one of those kids I think that's just going to go to school and make A's.
He's got to do his work.
Well, I know he's got to have to do the homework, but he could, if he didn't have homework, he'd make A's anyway.
Right.
He's one of those kids.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think he was like, dang, Uncle Chet, like,
got on me.
Yeah, what the heck? Because I was like, look, and he was like, and I'm like, no, I'm serious. Like, you better be doing your work. Tatum, this is unacceptable. Yeah, it was kind of funny.
No, he's been pretty good. The thing that he does, he forgets, or he in quotes, forgets, and then at 8:30 was time to go to bed. He's like, "Oh, I forgot to do my homework."
Yeah.
Like, well, go do it. Or if you don't,
right,
whatever. He's about to start basketball though, so I'm excited for him to play on a team. He played soccer a while ago. Judah just got done with soccer. Judah scored like 5 goals this season. They learned a lot. They're just 8-year-olds, so they were playing an 8 and a 9-year-old league. So we only won like three out of the 7 games, but the other ones were close.
Yeah,
Lost by a goal or 2, but they had a lot of fun. And then, 5-year-old, he's doing great.
Sweet.
The kid loves school.
Yeah,
Yeah, which he's a shy kid. Never would have thought he'd be like, yeah, school.
yeah.
But
School
he loves
is cool.
it. Yeah. Yep. Good kids. What about yours, Matt?
It's one day at a time, boys. One day at a time.
Today is not the day.
2 teenage girls, huh?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know about grades. I know that my oldest was having some. She's realizing that college is a lot harder than high school. Mm-hmm. So she's having that realization right now, and she's trying to juggle work and school and trying to figure out how to get it all done. And then she's having some fun issues at her work with people not getting their paycheck and stuff being out of stock. And
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was like, hey, you might want to start looking for something else. And
Yep.
she's like, well, they cut my hours and now I'm not making my, I'm worried about making my car payment or whatever. And she knows that, when we got the car, I was like, well, if you need help, you just let me know and I'll be here to help you. That's what parents are for. But she wants to do it. She's like her dad. She's stubborn, wants to do it all on her own. But anyway, so, because I did lose my legs, the VA has a program called DEA, which is Dependent Education Assistance. And it basically pays her a stipend every month for school. And I was like, what's the status of that? And she's like, oh, I don't know. I talked to the guy at the school and he said it would cover this, but there would probably be, $500 left over or something like that. And I was like, no. I said, you're going to a JUCO. I go, your hourly tuition rate is low. I said, you should have money every month that is enough to pay for your classes, pay for your books, pay for your car payment, pay for your insurance, pay for, I was like, you technically with this do not have to work if you don't want to. So I was like, you might want to figure this out, and so it's like, I don't understand the apathy of kids, I guess.
Right.
And I'm like, why, let's call, you need to call this number. I gave her the number and then I ended up having to call and then I merged the phone calls and had her on the phone with me. But I was like, why? I was like, number, I'm not going to, shoot, I lost my legs. I'm not going to, I'm not, there's not one penny coming out of my pocket for school. And I was like, because I've already done it. And but we got that figured out and it's in the works. And so thankfully she'd done everything that she was supposed to do. And so we're just waiting on the VA to do their thing.
Well,
but
good deal.
she'll have a nice little back pay check coming that hopefully she doesn't blow on stupid stuff and uses it.
Man, you gotta live. Let her live. Let her live.
That's important.
Huh? Come on. It's all. There's only one good time to make really dumb financial decisions, and that's when you're still covered by your parents. Like that's what I say.
Well, I'm hoping. I was like, hey, you get this big back payment. Maybe look at investing in some stuff. And starting out small, and then so grade wise, I think she's doing okay. She likes it. And she likes how it's different. It's not as cliquey as high school was.
Right.
And so you have different groups that you can fit in with. And so she's kind of growing into her own young woman, which is always fun to see that. And especially just the frustration coming home from work and being able to relate to that. And then my youngest, of course, is just she's always been a really good student. And that hasn't changed. And we've been doing the soccer thing, and and we just got back from Tulsa last weekend, and yeah, we tied one, lost one, should have won both. Had a couple of tough games. Went to this place called Lima, and I can't remember. There's more, but it's a Peruvian restaurant. And those are hard to find.
Did you get your lomo saltado or whatever you call it?
Lomo saltado. I sure did.
There's two in Wichita.
There's Gabby's, but I don't know about another one.
Lima Nation over on the east side.
Lima Nation. I haven't heard of that one. I have to
it's
check
pretty.
that one out.
It's pretty new. I think it's about.
Was this place in Tulsa any good? Because I'm in Tulsa a lot.
It was really good.
Yeah.
And I think it's more Broken Arrow.
Dude, that's kind of where I stay when I go because I don't like parking garages.
Yeah, that's where we stayed was Broken Arrow, and it was really, really good. Matter of fact, the people that own it are actually from Peru, and the guy that runs it is from Peru, and we had a conversation about that because they had a picture up on the wall, and I was like, hey, I've been exactly right there in that picture. I've been there, and he's like, oh, when was that? And we got to talking, and he goes, well, when you came in, you guys sure knew what you wanted, knew what everything was called. And I was like, well, this is one of our favorite foods. And, but it was super, super good food, but we almost lost Clara. We almost lost her.
Like she choked on something?
Yeah. So we,
oh man!
I think I think she learned because Lily had to work, and so she wasn't with us. But I think Clara learned a lot about Dad in that moment, and because she, so for a while we thought that she had sports-induced asthma, and so she's been doing tons of doctor's appointments and all that kind of stuff, and because she'd be out there on the soccer field and then just all of a sudden couldn't breathe, and so we've done all these appointments, and her lungs are fine, everything's good to go. But what they found was some sort of vocal cord disorder, and and I don't know I don't know the specifics behind it, but that's what causes it, and it causes her throat to close up a little bit, and so she was eating calamari, and I look over, and she coughed, and then. You get that kind of glazed look in your eye, like I'm screwed.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Are you okay?" And she didn't move. She didn't want to do anything. She's like, "I think so." And then she's you can see her. She just kind of sits there and doesn't move, doesn't do anything, and then tries to she reaches into her mouth and grabs onto whatever she could grab onto, and then pulls it out. And gets it out of there, and I was like, "Oh man!" I was like, "That was a close one." I was like,
"Yeah."
I was like, "You don't know how many scenarios just ran through my head right there." Yeah. And she's like, "Well, what? Like, you gonna do CPR?" And I was like, "No, absolutely not." I was like, "That's the last thing you want to do. Somebody's choking, is push it down further."
Yeah.
And I was like, "So I'd have done." I said I would have started with the Heimlich, and I said, "But here's how my brain works, kiddo. Like." My initial was the Heimlich, and then number 2 was I'm going to have to actually reach down into your throat and try to unobstruct the object, whatever's in there."
Yeah.
And I said, at that point, I'm thinking she's going to bite me, and so I'm going through that whole scenario in my head, and then I ended with I've got a straw right there, and I've got a knife here doing an emergency tracheotomy so you can breathe. And I said, I was like, because you didn't know Dad was an EMT, did you? And she goes, "No, I didn't. I never knew that." And I go, "See, you learn something new every day." Right.
So, and you could have learned the hard way, daughter. Yeah.
And I was like, but I go, that's why Dad's always, when we're doing something or we're going somewhere, and it's like it seems like I'm always stressed out. And I said, it's because I'm about 4 or 5 steps ahead of everybody because I always plan ahead. And so I'm always thinking about different ways to do things and ways out of things and whatever. And so she finally got a little insight into how Dad's mind operates.
Well, you could have been there though. I mean, you may have had to use all those skills.
Yeah.
Could have. Thankfully, I didn't have to.
Man.
Choking's horrible, dude.
Yeah, didn't you almost die from a hot dog?
Yeah. Just I took a bite. I was a kid. And my mom was gone. My dad was out mowing. And I took a bite, put the hot dog in there, took a bite, and squeezed the dog part, just shot out of the bun right down to the back of my throat. I couldn't breathe. I was like, ugh. Nothing. And so I took off running to get to my dad. And while I was flying around the corner, I hit the wall and
knocked it out.
Yeah. That was I wouldn't have made it to him. We had acreage, so he was out. He wasn't like close.
Yeah. Have y'all seen those suction things?
Yeah.
You put them
over the
face. Like a face mask, and you pull it.
Yeah.
And it creates a suction. And
yeah.
I need to get one of those for the house.
I don't know, man. Do you have a fire extinguisher?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because then to get that, because there's other things that would happen more than choking, I guess, like your house catching on fire.
Dude, I'm so nervous,
Trussled
about choking.
Yeah.
Like my number one rule, if we leave the kids home alone, for an hour
Can't
or
eat.
so, do not eat.
How many times have your kids choked?
None.
Well, okay.
Well,
you gotta have a little faith here.
I'll take that back. I mean, I think we've had one incident, but it was real quick. They got kind of like Clara,
coughed it
they
out.
just got it up.
Yeah.
But it was scary real quick, and then.
Oh yeah, man, it gets scary fast.
Yeah.
All right, top 3. What are we doing? Top 3 issues.
Important issues for you this election cycle.
All right, Matt, I'll let you go first.
Number 3 is the ability to work across the aisle. I think for far too long we've been divided left and right, and one way's right, one way's wrong. And I think we saw in the vice presidential debate that we have a lot of the same. We agree that there's a lot of issues that need to be fixed, and we agree on those issues, but we don't agree on how to get those issues fixed. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I took away from the vice presidential debate. And it would be nice to be able to work across the aisle, bring a little bit of civility to the White House and to D.C. in general, so that we all can live a more peaceful, harmonious life together. So that would be number 3. Number 2, I always used to say that the gun, the Second Amendment was always big on my list, and the more and more, the older I get, the less that one actually matters to me, as long as they don't erode it a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Because I can just take my gun and get the Second Amendment back. So
you only have one.
So
gun
I'm not really. No, I've got a lot. And I'm not ashamed of all the guns that I own.
Okay.
I am one of those people, though. If I told you that when Trump was campaigning, I don't know if I told you guys this. Back in 2016? He was doing a rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma, matter of fact, or Oklahoma City, I'm sorry. And I had been training at Barber Creek doing the long range stuff.
Yeah.
And so here I am with my buddy, and I've got a spotting scope, I've got a rangefinder, I have a
long range rifle.
A rifle with long range rifle with just tons of ammo, and then I had pistols with me. I had everything that I normally my truck guns. I had all that stuff, and we actually went in front of the convention center because the traffic was directing us around that way because he was coming. He wasn't there yet, but he was on the highway in the limo, and so I'm like, dude, we are so screwed.
Yeah,
here we're going, but all these secret service now.
Yeah.
I was like, if we get stopped, dude, we are going to jail. Anyway, that was off topic. But number 2, I would like to see, because I think one of the big things that separates us is abortion, and I would like to see us come to some sort of agreement. I think, for me personally, I think Trump's kind of on the right track, leaving it to the states, getting the federal government out of it. I like that. Repealing Roe v. Wade, I think was great. But I think there's a lot of different solutions, and people disagree on how to get those done, and they focus on the wrong things. But I would like to see us work together to maybe make that not have to be an option for women to have an abortion. And so I think we need to look at some of those support roles for that, and maybe working across the aisle for those roles and funding some of those programs. And then number one, the most important thing to me this election cycle is to get us off of the brink of constant war around the world.
Yeah.
Because we are so close to it at any given moment. And I think that the wrong move, the wrong person is going to send us into a spiral that we're not going to be able to find our way out of. And it will end in a nuclear option. And so I'm hoping that, because I just think, if we end up with somebody weak, our enemies are, they're doing it now. They're taking advantage of it. I mean, we have Venezuelan gangs taking over a handful of hotels a handful of apartment complexes. That really isn't that big of a deal.
Not big of a deal. It's just a handful.
Yeah, maybe when it gets to maybe a baker's dozen, we'll start to worry about it. And so our enemies see that, and so we need a strong president, even if they're not the most personable, they don't say all the right things all the time. But I think that if our enemies believe that somebody is just unhinged enough to do what needs to be done to take them out, and they're not going to hesitate to do it, I think that puts us in an advantage, because it just keeps them on their heels. And I also like a president that is going to work with those leaders around the world that are traditionally ones that we wouldn't want to work with, like the Kim Jong-uns and the Putins. It's good to have discussions with them. I don't understand why everybody's like, well, he's working with them and talking to them. Like, great, perfect. If you have open lines of communication, you're making progress. And so that's kind of my number one. Because ultimately, it ends up with a bunch of dead U.S. citizens that are going to go into war for a country that doesn't always have the right ideals. And so that's why that would make number one for me.
All right. Well, I'll go next. The number one or number three would be health. I really do think it's time for our NIH, FDA, CDC. We need an overhaul on what's going on there with what we're allowing, the chemicals we're allowing on our food, the funding of almost all of our medical schools comes from pharmaceutical companies and food companies.
Well, then you can get an overhaul on all that too, because all they teach them there is how to write prescriptions. They don't teach them about how to prevent disease and how to eat right. They just teach them, here's how you cut, here's how you take this out, and here's how you write a script.
So one of the things I was listening to Rogan's podcast last time I was heading down to Tulsa, episode 2210. Had this Casey Means. There's two doctors on there. Both of them have last names of Means.
No, they're brother and sister.
Brother and sister?
Yeah. One's a doctor. One was a surgeon. The other one is...
But you don't have to say no. There are two doctors, and both of their last names are Means.
I don't think he's a doctor. She is.
Pretty sure. Okay, let's see. There's an MD, Dr. Casey Means. And then Callie Means is the co-founder of TrueMed. Okay, he may not be a doctor.
Yeah.
They're authors.
Right.
Anyway.
Sorry.
You're right. You're right.
I'm sorry. Fact check you there.
Sorry. I got fact check. Anyway, one of the things that they said, which is pretty awesome. There's this good episode. You need to listen to it.
They're also on Tucker Carlson for you Tucker Carlson listeners.
HSAs, so your health savings accounts, which is money that you could take from your paycheck that isn't taxed to spend towards help paying your copays on your medical bills and all this other stuff. If you have a prescription from a doctor, they're able to do this, by the way, for exercise or for healthy food or for supplements. They could write you a prescription. You could literally get a prescription from a doctor to exercise. Then if you do have that, you can take your tax-protected HSA money and pay for your health club tax-free, pay for healthy food tax-free, and pay for supplements tax-free, which I think is fascinating. And you're not going to get your doctor at your normal family physician place to write you a healthcare prescription.
No.
But they
You'll have to go to direct primary care or something.
No, they have a telemed system. One of the means does. So you can call a doctor. You know how all the, you can call you can call counselor, and all this kind of stuff. You don't necessarily have to go to your primary doctor for all that kind of stuff. Well, they have a place where you can call in and they'll have a doctor consult with you. And if they think that exercise would be beneficial for you, anybody, they'll write you a prescription for exercise, and then you can pay for your gym membership out of your HSA, which is pretty cool.
I need to give them a call.
But the RFK being a part of the Trump campaign and hopefully him serving, just stirring all that up, I think is really important for us, for our future. Because if you run down through the stats, like if we were to have a draft today, half the kids, like 77% of the kids are not healthy enough to even serve in the military right now of young military age. It's crazy. Number 2, spending. We are spending way too much on government programs of absolutely everything, and we need to stop it. The government has never stepped in and fixed anything for anybody. War on poverty, there's still poverty. We're going to create the Department of Education. Our kids are dumber today. We need to quit spending. That's true. It's funny and sad. And then number 1, free speech. We are truly at a tipping point on whether or not we would be able to say what we wanted to say and not have repercussions from the government. We know that the government specifically went after people for posting factual information that was not beneficial for the government, and they were forcing these social media companies to take their speech down. Like you can't say that. And if you do, we're going to kick you off this platform forever. And the government was behind every bit of that. And if we go down that path now, it's just going to get worse and worse. So,
well, the best thing that happened recently for that was Musk creating X and buying Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the only place free speech
there's a couple of others, but
Rumble and
that people have a bigger platform because X is relatively large. But Zuckerberg came out and flat out said, the government was telling me to take down stuff and we were doing it. That's horrible.
Yeah.
And California just passed a law that if you meme about politics, that's illegal. Like just dumb things.
California, man.
But anyway, so they're willfully attacking the First Amendment, and if we don't get some people in there to straighten this out, it's going to get really bad.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, what you got, Troy?
Number 3, bringing the country together is one of the issues. I think that's a big deal because we're just at odds with each other. Mm-hmm. It's right and left. But honestly, if you get 2 people in a room that probably live in the same city that don't think alike and they would just sit down and have a conversation, it probably wouldn't get all crazy,
Unless they tried to serve me some ground turkey Tim Walls tabletop casserole.
So, but I don't know. I feel like people can get along if they get off of, the mainstream media and all that crap that they're being fed. Everybody's being fed. So, and I think Trump will do a good job about bringing the country together because the people that he said he's going to bring into his administration, like Musk and RFK. And I think.
And people get along when they have means.
Right.
Like this crazy, people don't have any money right now. I mean, it's stressful. And the more stressed people are, the less you're going to get along with other folks.
Yeah. So that brings me to the next one is the economy. The economy concerns me. Inflation is crazy. On the rise, crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I got 6 other mouths to feed. It's nuts.
Right.
It's hard to do. We had one of our best 4 years of economy the last time he was in office.
Right.
So, yeah.
Bring it back.
Bring it back.
Let's do it.
For sure. And then the last one that concerns me the most is border control. Why have we let all these millions of immigrants or invasion happen, or just whatever it is, whatever you want to call it? There's millions of people that have come into this country illegally.
And we don't know who they are.
We don't know who they are. We don't know where they are unless they're, taking over apartment complexes with machine guns.
Right.
We know where those guys are, but we're not doing a freaking thing about it.
Right.
Which is idiotic. But we've got to close that border somehow.
Yeah.
And get back to doing immigration the way it's been done, or the way it's supposed to be done, correctly.
Right.
And the people that have come to this country correctly and done it the right way, man, I applaud you. Welcome.
Yeah, we're not anti-immigrant.
No.
Anti-illegal immigrant.
But those people are feeling the effects of it as well.
Yeah.
Like more than I do.
Right.
I was born here. Great. I'm American.
Yeah.
Those people that came here to try to make a life for themselves and did it the right way.
Yeah.
And they see our government just handing them $10,000 and giving them a place to stay.
Yep.
For as long as, no. That has to stop.
No doubt.
So anyway,
man, it's all good issues.
That
hard
that
to
one
pick,
gets
hard
me
to pick just
freaking.
three.
That one gets me fired up more than anything.
Yeah.
It's idiotic.
All right, Matt, do you have a good word to calm Troy down?
No, but I do have a good word. I don't know if it'll calm you down.
Okay.
Deuteronomy 30:19 says, "I have set before you life and death, blessing and curses. Now choose life so that you and your children may live." And I think that's kind of where we are at this point. I don't think it's ever been more apparent that we are in a battle of good and evil.
Oh yeah.
And it's just it's always been there, but I think it's just becoming more apparent. And so as we go into the election, choose life.
I like it, man. That's a good one.
I like it.
Well, thank you, folks, for another 203rd episode of Hardheaded Podcast. Appreciate you listening. Like, share, subscribe, and join us next week. We'll see you then.
Thanks for listening to the Hardheaded Podcast. Don't forget to share this podcast with others to help us get the word out.
Also, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the show. This helps our podcast show up in other people's suggested shows that may or may not have listened to us before.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.